up, y'all? It's me, Erica, and we are down here. Peace, y'all. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Of Atlanta. What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, and we are down here to discuss the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know you stopped by. We are down here, honey. Let's make sure this motherfucking thing is on, honey, because I didn't have it on the charger this whole weekend. So, but it wasn't being used, so I guess it maintained its battery life. I was making sure it's still on because it doesn't make a noise or anything. It just goes off. Real Housewives of Atlanta was pretty good. We see Marlo and Kandi got into it. You see how Marlo goes, what she goes for, directly what she goes for. Marlo is a woman that you cannot be friends with. She's a woman you cannot be friends with. And if you're friends with her, you cannot share nothing vulnerable about yourself with her. Nothing. Marlo is the type of woman, unlike a lot of people that you share things with, they're violent with your vulnerability, where they will take something that you were vulnerable about or something they know you're vulnerable about and weaponize it and use it against you as soon as there's conflict. That is not a friend. That is a person just waiting for an opportunity to cut you down if conflict arises. That is more like an enemy who likes to be around you, not even a frenemy. And what Marlo does, and I noticed that she did it last night, and I was like, oh, okay, that's really rich what she does. And I'll get to it. And I was like, ugh, Marlo, that's fucking whack. And she did it to Kandi. She did it to Kandi. But we'll talk. Ken and Drew are on the phone. Drew says she can't help that she triggers people. She does this, like I said, Drew is acting. She has her wigs on. She has her costumes and all of that stuff ready. She's still whack. Kenya lets everybody know her happiness isn't dependent on a first one or on a plus one. I love when women trek their entire lives looking for a man and looking and trekking and rolling over hills and rolling down hills and going through the terrain looking for a man, and then after they done dragged you, she's finally got to a point where the plus one doesn't matter. A lot of women, that happens to a lot of women. Now all of a sudden it doesn't matter now. All of a sudden it doesn't matter. Now it's not important. Having a plus one is not important, but it's been important to you for the last 30 years of your life. And now all of a sudden you're tired of being dragged through the mud. You're tired of all this stuff that you've gone through with these niggas. And all of a sudden that plus one isn't as important. Sanya, can I just say this? I really don't like, and I don't know, it's making me sick to my stomach. I really don't like when Kenya brought that guy, what's his name, John? She met a guy, they were on their way to their hotel rooms in their golf carts. They passed a guy and she started talking. They went around and they started talking to the guy. She got the guy's number and asked him, did he want to have dinner tonight? I thought it was kind of fucked up that Marlo was like, oh, he didn't approach her. She approached him, right? She approached him. And Ross was like, it's kind of both ways. So Marlo, what she does, Marlo is a woman who knows, and I've said this before about Marlo, she doesn't see the value in men and having a man around. She uses men for what they're good for her, right? And she's been able to thrive in that way. She doesn't need men in the way that other women need men and act like they can't survive without men. So what Marlo does is she weaponizes that vulnerability that so many women have, with the knowledge that these women put value in men and other men put value in men. And so if I say, what did he do? He didn't approach her. She approached him, right? That's making it seem like Kenya is desperate for a man and that the man didn't choose her. She's running after the men. Marlo knows what she's doing, and I clocked her yesterday when she was doing it to Kandi. I saw what she did it to she did it to Kenya, but she did it to Kandi. I had to see it another time in order to be like, okay, I got what she's doing. Right? You have to see it done on several different people to then be like, okay, I see what this bitch is doing. So I just wanted to say that I don't like when women bring a man around and then you start asking questions as if this person is a potential life partner. You don't know nothing about this man. She just met him herself. Asking him his age is fine. Asking him, but then being like, ooh, woo, 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 like high school. It's so much like it really is when a man comes around women, like they literally like what's the name? Joggers. Sheree. She said it. She said Kenya, when Kenya gets around men, but it's not just Kenya. A lot of women do that, right? They start getting stupid and giggling and stuff like that because a dick is in proximity and they've been programmed to say when a dick gets in proximity, y'all better, we don't cuss, we get feminine, we act in this, it's the performance turns on, right? But when that motherfucker leaves, all these women are different women. All of them are. Let a man come around and I know, oh, that's okay. That's what you're supposed to do. Girl, fuck these niggas. You don't perform. They don't perform for you. Y'all start, shut up. Shut up. Sanya and Ross are training with the brother-in-law Tyrell. Little baby did 16 and a half push-ups. Go, little baby. Honey, I'll be down there like, go, pumping their asses up. Get it. He was doing his little hands like that, 16 and a half push-ups. I said, come on, Deuce. Let's go, Deuce. You got to pump them up. We don't want any problems out of anybody when we go to Jamaica. No problem. Okay? So Drew and Ralph start talking about the book. Ralph and Drew's relationship is very weird. It feels like the entire thing is a performance. It feels like when they are on screen, they are performing. They're both actors. Ralph is one as well. They talk about this book about being a step parent, and Drew doesn't know much about the book. Again, he's writing a book. He has a project, and the project is centering around him being, or a book centering around him being a step parent. And part of their conversation was that he was supposed to adopt Josiah. But I guess, and this happened to me, where a man will go over you and over your instructions and go to the man close to you. My dad did that with my children's father, and then like he went, like if they were gonna be speaking man to man about my motherfucking kids. You don't need to speak man to man about a motherfucker who don't have no say in nothing. Well, I need to speak man. You don't need to speak man to man. And if you really want to get down to the layers, you ain't speaking to a motherfucking man. If you really want to talk about it, okay? Because we can really talk about it. So this motherfucker Ralph did the same thing. He went over Drew's head. Drew and him they're in the relationship. But for some odd reason, Ralph wanted to consider, right? He wanted to consider the absent father. He wanted to consider and consult with the absentee father and say, I want to adopt Josiah. And this guy, and how most men, let me tell you something. An absentee father who is not contributing to any of his children, nothing, emotional, spiritual, mental, physical, financial, they're not contributing in any way. If you ask them, do they want kids named after them? They will tell you yes. Even though they have no intention on taking care of the kid, they will want the kid to have their last name. Even if they will never pay a red cent in child support. They will never come visit. They will never send nothing. They will never call them. But if you go to that man and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about adopting you and Drew's son," and apparently this man has told him he doesn't feel comfortable, so Ralph is taking that into consideration. He's taking an absentee father's feelings into consideration, not his wife and not the child he's a stepfather to. Not theirs, but the absentee, no good, not there nigga. Because you know why? He's a man. That's it. And that is all. And Drew is the same woman who's in Sanya's face telling her she needs to oblige with what her husband wants to do. He wants her to write a foreword for the book. She says, "I don't know anything about the book. I don't know what the contents are. How am I going to write a foreword for a book? I have no idea what it's about." Well, she said, "I haven't been here on any of this journey. I haven't been here on any of it." He tells her, "Just follow my lead." And like a good Christian woman, she's right behind her man, following him as he tells her nothing along the way. So you put your trust in God and ask God to make sure that he tells him the right thing to do to lead you in the right way. Is that how it goes? So you look up to the man in the sky to ask him to guide your man so that you can sit quietly behind him as he leads you with no knowledge of where you're going. Just follow my lead, he says. She says, "Well, I didn't know nothing about the book. I don't know anything different about the book." "Well, this is bigger than us," he says. "This book is bigger than us. What will people learn from the book?" "Well, it's dedicated to fathers and lessons that you've learned." This is what the woman is telling her. She tells him she can't write the foreword until she reads the book. When I tell you that nigga cut his eyes at her, he cut his eyes at her. I went back and I watched. He was visibly upset. And that's the problem. Y'all following these niggas, and as soon as there's any resistance, you tell them I want you to lead me. And when you any resistance, they're upset. They're upset. He cut his eyes and had to straighten up his little posture. I was like, oh, Ralph's mad. Oh, well. Anyways, they're on the way to Jamaica. Ross forgets his passport. They got to go. He has to go back. Marlo brings her friend Adrian, who is also a florist. Shay ditched Kenya. She was sick, so Kenya's not bringing a +1. Sheree's bringing her girlfriend. I think her name started with an M. I don't remember her name. They arrived to Jamaica. Kandi says Marlo doesn't want anybody to see her sponsors. I wouldn't want anybody to see my sponsors either. What kind of bullshit is that? Why the fuck would I let you see my benefactor, bitch, so that you can push up on him? Absolutely not. Kandi call herself being funny, but bitch, I'm not showing you my benefactors either. What kind of dumbass shit is that? That's some rookie shit. To bring a nigga that's paying for everything. You don't bring him around. You bring your gay florist friend. That's who you bring. You don't bring the nigga who's breaking you off. Okay? What the fuck? I'm bringing my gay florist friend. None of y'all business. So y'all can start asking them a bunch of dumbass questions that are none of your fucking business. No, I'm not showing you my sponsor, Kandi. I know you really want to see how Marlo makes her money. Because you've been working day and night. And you're not really happy that this bitch can lay on her back and get the stuff. Is that a problem? You want to see who's funding Marlo? Absolutely not. You won't get to see him. Never will see him. And I don't blame her. If I was Marlo, you would, what? I'm bringing my gay florist friend every single time, girl. Todd said he's not drinking. He's an old man. That's when you get old, when you stop drinking. Keith is Manyetta's husband, right? And then Kenya said, your girl is back on the market. So Kenya is so cute. She was like, yes, girl. I was like, come on, Kenya. Honey, Kandi is upset because she's going back to talk to the guy. Kandi wants to eat. All she want to do is eat, honey. I need to eat. I'm hungry. Somebody's like, you getting hungry? I just need to eat. They dragging this out and I need to eat. Marlo said, oh, when she approached him, Ross was like, yeah, it was kind of both ways. I mean, I guess he looked, Kenya's dropped dead, okay? Dropped. Even when the dude walked into Kenya's room, he was like, yeah, like, damn. Like, yeah, man, this lady is 51 years old and you 37. Yes. She's a bad bitch, ain't she? She a bad bitch. That's a bad bitch. I said, come on, Kenya. Kenya was looking good. I said, come on, bitch. They're eating their food. John starts texting Kenya to set up and say what time he's going to meet her. We'll arrive at the dinner together. Drew is drinking out the bottle. He comes to Kenya's room and they're, chatting back and forth. I guess she asked him to bring her a Red Bull. So they split a Red Bull. And I was like, why are they cheersing with the Red Bull? Okay, whatever. So they end up going to, she was like, I think he's a good guy. Why did they show all of Kenya's relationships? Girl, Walter, that was so crazy. Walter, Matt, I was about to call him Mario. Matt, I knew it was an M. And then Mark. When I tell you, every time I see Mark Daly, I literally want to take his face and like twist it and pull it. I can't stand a smug, arrogant. Oh, I cannot stand like those typical narcissistic dudes. I cannot stand them because they so arrogant, they so smug, they think they smarter than everybody in the room. I hate them niggas. I do. I do. Ooh, every time I see Mark, and there's this one picture of Mark and he has like a beanie on that it's like if you Google Mark, you can if I Google him, you can find a picture. Every time I see his face, Mark Daly, I'm like, this is the picture that really, it's right here, baby. This is the picture that really surmises just his whole personality. This picture right here. That's smug, no empathy, no care about anybody else, only cares about himself, doesn't care about nobody else but himself, will love bomb you, traipse you off to get you married, and then talk shit about you, disrespect you, call you not out of your name in front of everybody. This nigga here makes my stomach turn. He does. He really does. But this is the picture of him that just wraps it up in a bow. What he just smug. Ugh. Kenya Moore's husband. It should say ex-husband. Are they divorced yet? Kenya filed for divorce from Mark in May 2021. They were, and then it's like, and then it just, and that's where now she's at a point where she's like, I don't need a plus one. Yeah, you had that. I don't. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because I remember Tamra, her first husband. He was a flaming narcissist, and we'll talk about that because I saw something with Martell and Melody over the weekend. Um, and it just reminded me of Tamra from Housewives of Orange County and what she went through with her narcissist ex-husband and what he put her through and how he turned those kids against her. One of her daughter, her oldest daughter, Martell, that Melody needs to watch Martell because I have a feeling he'll do the same thing. Going back and forth with custody, and using kids as pawns. That a narcissist will do that. You see what he was doing with Brooklyn. He didn't want her. This is my show. This is the show I'm on. You're on this show. You come on this show, embarrass me, and then you turn around and say that you don't want the baby's face shown on the show. No, this I work. You pulling that weird stuff to kind of control situations. So I don't like Mark Daly. When they showed him, I was like, get him off my fucking screen. That raggedy to shit. I don't like him. They get to dinner, they're having toast or whatever. Kenya says she's getting her groove back. Her dinner date comes there. He's 37 years old. Kenya says she'll take men from 30 to 60. I said, come on, bitch. She said, and then that's when Sheree said, Kenya's soft spoken around men. A lot of y'all perform like that for the men. It's how you signal that you're feminine enough to get this raggedy ass nigga to pay attention to you. All the cues, the touching and all that stuff. Girl, we know it all. We know it all. Y'all put on a fucking show. We know how it goes. Sheree asked Ralph about the book that he's writing. He says, yeah, it's about to be, a stepfather book about stepfathers, about co-parenting. And then he says something weird. He says, I claim him to be my real son. That just entire sentence is just awkward as hell. Yeah, I'm his stepfather, but I claim him to be my real son, but you won't adopt him. So, being a stepchild is the opposite of real. That's one. Like, that's why you don't need to be writing a book, and you probably need a professional to write it with you, and you can just talk about your experiences, because you don't even speak in a way like, I claim him as my real son, but you won't adopt him. And then you treat him differently, because Drew has already told us that you treat him differently than your biological children. So, out of respect for his father, that his biological father that hasn't been there for him, out of respect for him, you're going to imprint rejection onto this child in respect for their father, biological father, who's absent. You need to write a different book. You need to not write this book. Sorry. Because that's not a good stepfather. Because if you're telling this kid and his mother, I'm going to adopt him, and then you go and speak to the biological father who has never been there for the child, and then you take his feelings into consideration, and in that you imprint rejection onto the child you're supposed to be the stepfather for. You're not a good stepfather, Ralph. Sorry. Hate to break it to you, partner. You're not. I can't legally adopt him if the father wants to be a part of his life. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can actually give the child, and from my vantage point, if I was Drew, I would give Josiah his grandfather's last name, her father's last name, your quote unquote maiden name, because the nigga you married ain't shit, and neither was his daddy. So none of them deserve a legacy. Josiah would get your father's last name. That's how I would work that. Y'all want to fucking play games and keep rejecting my kid? Fuck all y'all. I'ma fix everybody. Okay? That's what we gonna do. I said, this nigga really is letting the people know that he can't adopt him if the man wants to be a part of the child's life. But he's not a part of the child's life. He's going to tell you he doesn't want the kid's name changed, because that's like a part of ownership for him, even though he has no intention on taking care of it. Marlo says to Drew, did you know that? Did you know that he's not going to adopt him? And then she's like, well, we had the conversation. And then Marlo is on this whole thing, which is a weird position to take. But Marlo is identifying as a foster child and wanting to be adopted, but she's not able to tie that identity to kicking her nephews out of the house. It's weird how she wasn't able to do that. But she's telling Ralph, like, that really touches me, that really triggers me, because, if you tell a child you're going to adopt them, you should adopt them, you know? And I'm sure that happens a lot where there's plans to adopt a child and something comes up and you can't adopt the child. I'm sure that that's very hurtful. But in this is not this situation. There's no reason for him to say it except for to gaslight Drew. Like I couldn't be in a relationship with Ralph. I'd probably end up feeding him rat poison. Slowly. Yeah, because it's too much. I don't know what it is. He's another one. I don't know what it is. And when you watch him, he's always squinting his eyes. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's his resting face, but he's always like this, squinting. And like watch Ralph when he's not the focus, like when he's in the background. Watch Ralph. Watch him. Just watch him. Kenya says, I think it's weird that you're saying this when you have your own issues going on with your kids. Kenya was like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, what is she talking about? So, Kenya, I would have shut up because when you start talking, Kandi is never co-signing shit you say. She don't be like, yeah. And you right there talking about, yeah, it don't make sense. Nah, shut up. Let that be between Kandi and Marlo. Because the last time you was trying to get the fuck away from Marlo, Kenya was like, well, you don't like it when it's done to you. So when she's getting into it with Marlo, you step back and let her deal with Marlo. She let you deal with Marlo. You let her deal with Marlo. Shit. He has two fathers, not full time, not on your taxes. I'm a foster child. I'm familiar with situations like yours, and you can have a different situation. And then she gets on because Marlo doesn't like that Kandi mentioned the children, her situation, in front of everybody. So Marlo immediately goes to Kandi and says, my situation is different than yours. In your situation, you put your mama before your man. Once again, using a weapon that she believes you hold value in. Because she comes from that era. Like, there are women who understand that. Like I would probably do this. I would probably use the same tactic. If I know that you put value in having a partner and being and this and that, and the way your relationship is set up looks kind of funny, we're going to come after your man. Especially if you put value there and the nigga ain't shit. If the nigga ain't shit and you put value in him, we coming after you in that way because we know that's what's important to you, that's going to hurt you the most. But Kandi is supposed to be her friend. And again, Kandi is not Marlo's friend, and I keep telling y'all that. They have known each other the longest out of all the women, I believe. They know a lot about each other. You hear Marlo insinuating, and she's been insinuating this the entire time, that Kandi is a lesbian, right? And that's not what you really want, she's telling her, right? And she's telling her, what does she tell her? She said, everything you saying to me, you could say to, or everything you're saying to Drew, you could say to yourself. She said, you're the one who sent your nephews away. She says, you don't think it's weird that you put your mom before your man? And she was like, man, what are you talking about? You belittling your mother. And you see how she's doing it. She's taking everything. Kandi don't know which way to go. Because Marlo is using two things that Kandi places value in. She don't know whether to devalue the relationship with her husband or she will not devalue the relationship with her mother. Are you belittling your mother? You're calling your mother a liar? Did you hear her? Marlo knows exactly what she's doing. And then she'll turn around and say, how could you do this to me knowing what I'm going through with my nephews? Now you need to take her feelings into consideration. When she's coming after Ralph and Drew with the foster kid thing, you come after her and say, girl, what are you talking about? Because your situation is similar. You can't really say nothing. She doesn't like that. So she comes after your man and your mother. right? And your sexuality. She keeps coming for that. But Kandi has no problem saying she is the B in the LGBT. She said it. It's not a big deal, right? But Marlo, for her, those things are weapons and she's using them. And then she'll turn around and say, how could she do that to me? And then say that was the reason why she went so low. And then turn around and say, and I love you. You know, I love you. It's very toxic. And it's something that she needs to go back to a therapist and talk to them about, because you don't go all the way like that with a friend. That you reserve that ammunition for an enemy. And because you have reserved that type of ammunition for me, and I'm supposed to be your friend, I'm going to go ahead and reposition myself as your enemy, because my friends don't speak to me that way. People I'm friendly with are not going to use my vulnerability in a violent way against me. So from my vantage point, the way you're moving, you're an enemy. How could she do this to me? In front of all these people, kids are off limits. But if I'm not mistaken, with the trip before at Blue Ridge, you called Brooklyn a test tube baby or something to that effect. You've also called Blaze a test tube baby, if I'm not mistaken. So I thought kids were off limits, Marlo. No. Marlo is delusional, but she knows what she's doing. She plays like, how could she do that to me? But you know exactly what you're doing. That's why Kandi was going back and forth, and she was looking at Todd. I don't belittle my man, or what'd she say? I don't belittle my mom. She was going back and forth. I'm sure that was very hard for Kandi, because she got two of the things you love the most. Only thing left was her food, to talk about some food. She had her mama and her man in both hands and was like this. Boom, 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 boom. You saw Todd over there switching his seat. He was ready to talk. Todd said, don't forget, I was in production. I know you ain't have no friends. I said, bitch. Get it, Todd. Todd said, did you forget? I was in production. I was behind the scenes. Didn't nobody I was Phaedra's friend. No, it wasn't nobody. Nobody was your friend, girl. You didn't have no friends. Didn't I say last week, Marlo don't have no friends on this show? Didn't I say that? I'm not even in production. She don't have no friends on this show. Nene wasn't even her friend. Do you understand? I don't take care of Todd. Who are you talking about? Then they showed when Mama Joyce called him an opportunist. I mean, honey, Kandi is proud that Todd saw an opportunity in her, and he loves that old country bumpkin, and he fell in love with this country bumpkin. She tried to say that Todd was like saying that Kandi was country and Kandi was lame and this and that. Moneta says this is not nice. You don't talk to your friends this way. It's not. And then she said something about controlling your husband. She was like, you need to get you a husband before you say anything about anybody. She was like, but you really want a wife. I said, see, that's, but you really want a wife. I said, Marlo is a bitch. And Kandi, baby, that's one thing. Tauruses, y'all be pissed. It's like bubbling up, but she will never, she wanted to maintain that it was not, she not bothering me. She's not bothering me. I'm not bothered by it at all. I said, yes, you are, Kandi. Close your eyes, girl. I'm not bothered. She's trying to mess my day up. Because I bet I'm worldwide. I'm all open. Her voice starts cracking because it's that adrenaline, because she wants to be mad. Bitch, it's okay to be mad. Fuck that bitch. It's okay. Don't try to calm me down. This bitch is talking crazy to me. And that's what Todd was like. She lying. You know that ain't right. Bitch, you just local. Bitch, I'm worldwide. They singing my karaoke in Japan, bitch. I said, Todd said, you didn't have friends. They said 11 years ago. I was like, damn, that was a long time ago. Kandi called her, Todd called Marlo a clown. You a clown. You a nothing ass bitch. That's what Kandi called her. You a nothing ass bitch. Then Kandi hit her. Remember all the things I've done for you. Y'all saw that? Y'all caught that, right? Kandi said, I know one thing. Remember this. All the things I've done for you. You only known in Atlanta. John got up and left. I said, did John leave? They said, can we end the night on our best behavior? Can we end the night on our best behavior? Bye, lonely lady. Bye, in denial. She's what is you in denial for? The lady says she's attracted to women and men. She's bisexual. She wanted to say she's a lesbian. She keep asking her. She asks her every season, is she a lesbian? Every season, Marlo asks Kandi, is she a lesbian? Because Marlo and Kandi know each other, and like, I'm surprised she hasn't gone even lower with Kandi, because I'm sure they know a lot about each other, especially knowing that Marlo used to date Candy's cousin. When I found when she said that on Speak on It, I was like, oh, and that made sense in season 4. When was that, season 4? Yeah, it was season 4 when Cynthia told Kim Zolciak, I don't even know why you have that dress on. She told Cynthia, I don't even know why you here. She said, and I don't even know why you have that dress on, when she had that purple dress, Kim Zolciak. That was Sheree's last season, when she was up Kim's ass, and she had that tan outfit on. She kept picking at it. You should have been some signs there that said no trespassing. Should have been some signs. I said Neverland. But anyways, in that episode, that's when Marlo was telling Kandi, does your mom like that he's driving around in your Range Rover? Talking about Todd. Does she like he's driving around in your Range Rover? Then she started talking about Candy's house. I can't even stand up straight in Candy's older house because Kandi can't. I wonder if Kandi would still be living there if nobody didn't say nothing about hitting their head on the roof of her house because the ceilings were so low. Girl, Marlo was tearing Kandi up. They know each other. That's the thing. That's why it's good to have people. But Marlo goes too low. She goes too low. And like I said to Kenya, don't be backing up Kandi. She let you stand out there when you was trying to run away from Marlo. You didn't want to talk to her. The reason why you don't want to talk to her, because she's going to turn around and cut you low. And then you're going to get out of character. You're going to get upset. And then now you want to fight. And now you look crazy. And it's just like, nobody wants to deal with that. And nobody wants to be on guard like that, Marlo. Marlo, she does all the things she does. And then we'll turn around. She did it to Kenya. I mean, what kind of friend? She did that. And then on this one, she said, how could she? Marlo, girl, shut the fuck up. Marlo is out of here, honey. Marlo, I don't know if you're going to make it back next season. I don't know. Bye, lonely lady. Bye, in denial. That was a mess. Todd was like, you haven't forgot. You didn't have no friends. You know why you really here, right? You know why you really here. You don't think it's weird that your mom comes before your man? Poor Kandi. Kandi didn't know what to do. She ain't gonna ruin my day. She ain't gonna ruin my day. Anyways, y'all, take care of each other. Protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Peace.